There are moments when your mind reveals signs you can't ignore, impossible coincidences, vivid dreams, perceptions that defy logic. Today you'll understand why this happens and what Jung discovered about you. There are experiences that happen to you that no one else can understand. Coincidences so precise that they seem to defy all logic. Dreams so vivid that when you wake up, you question which of the two worlds is real. And knowledge that comes out of nowhere, without study, without explanation, but with a certainty so profound that it's frightening. You begin to perceive what is going to happen seconds before it happens, and inevitably ask yourself, am I going crazy? Carl Jung dedicated his entire life to unraveling this mystery, and what he discovered changed everything. These were not signs of madness. They were messages, clues from the unconscious, evidence that you had begun to find yourself. Today you will learn about the 5 most profound experiences Jung identified. 5 signs experienced only by those who are awakening spiritually. Phenomena so clear and impossible to ignore that upon recognizing them, you will understand exactly where you are on your inner journey. And if you are experiencing this now, you will also understand why you feel so alone. You are not losing your mind. You are seeing reality as it is, not as most people need to see it in order to feel safe. Because Jung discovered something that almost no one has the courage to accept. Awakening is not a change of thinking. It is a reconfiguration of the human mind, a force that activates dormant functions of the psyche. And once that happens, there is no turning back. The first experience is familiar to anyone in the process of awakening. Jung called it synchronicity, but almost no one understands what it really means. It's not just meaningful coincidences, it's something much deeper, a hidden principle of connection, an invisible network where reality begins to communicate with you using symbols, gestures, and events that defy all logic. Those who sleep see coincidences. Those who are awake see messages. You think of someone, and that person calls. You ask a question mentally, and a stranger gives you the answer without realizing it. The same numbers appear repeatedly, 111, 33, 44. As if the universe were insisting that you pay attention. A book opens exactly to the page you needed. A song accurately describes what you are experiencing. Jung recorded all these experiences during his own awakening and wrote something that few have the courage to believe. Synchronicities are not random. They are the universe becoming aware of itself through you. And Jung realized something even more unsettling. Synchronicities intensify when the level of consciousness rises, as if you were tuning into a frequency that had always been there, waiting for your mind to be ready to perceive it. One of his patients, an extremely skeptical scientist, said, "I used to live in a world ruled by cause and effect. Now I live in a world of meaning and connection. Every day I feel reality speaking to me using what others call chance. A billboard answers your question. A bird appears at the exact moment you need confirmation. The favorite song of someone who has passed away plays at the decisive moment when you need to choose a path. But there is something that only the awakened understand. You cannot control synchronicities. When you try to force them, they disappear. They just flow when you are aligned with what Jung called the self, your deepest truth. It's as if reality itself senses when you are authentic and when you are just acting, And that's when loneliness sets in. How do you explain that reality talks to you? How do you convince someone that you are not delusional, but perceiving the hidden structure of existence? Jung warned, "The privilege of consciousness is also its burden. You see what others cannot see, and that sets you apart. Synchronicity becomes your secret language with the universe, beautiful, profound, and lonely." But the second experience is even more transformative. It was one of Jung's most revolutionary concepts, and almost no one talks about it: the transcendent function. It has nothing to do with escaping the world or losing yourself in mysticism. It is a psychological ability that only awakens in those who have crossed a deep threshold of consciousness. The transcendent function is the ability to hold opposites without breaking under their weight. While most people think in terms of either this or that, you begin to live this and that. You feel immense pain and deep joy at the same time. You see the divine light in someone and the human shadow as well. You realize that life is absurd and at the same time infinitely meaningful. Jung wrote, "The transcendent function is the bridge between the conscious and the unconscious. It allows opposing forces to create something new. It is not a compromise. It is a new creation born of the tension between the poles." Before awakening, you were either optimistic or pessimistic, spiritual or material, logical or intuitive. Afterwards, you are all of these things at once, a living paradox. One of your patients described it this way: "It was as if my mind expanded enough to fit everything. I felt my mother's death as the worst pain and simultaneously as the greatest gift of my life. Both were true." That is why awakened people seem contradictory, deeply spiritual, yet totally earthly. They are present here and beyond time, committed but detached. To the linear mind, they seem inconsistent, but they are not. They just see more. And when the transcendent function is activated, spontaneous wisdom arises. Solutions appear effortlessly. You know things without knowing how. It's not channeling or spiritual fantasy. It's the collaboration between conscious and unconscious, an intelligence that only flows when both cooperate. But this gift comes at a price. You can no longer participate in most human conflicts. Fights require taking sides. Dramas need victims and villains. Politics requires choosing a side. But you see the shadow and the truth in everyone. Every view contains wisdom and ignorance, and that makes it impossible to manipulate you. Too conscious for simplistic narratives, too lucid for rigid ideologies. You become, as Jung said, psychologically unsuitable for any system that depends on blind believers. And that leads directly to the third experience. The third experience of awakening is one of the most intense, and also one of the most difficult to explain. Jung called it the encounter with the shadow. Not the shadow as something evil, but as everything you never wanted to see about yourself. Awakening is not just light. It is the moment when your psyche forces you to see what you have hidden from yourself for years, perhaps decades. But here's the secret. Facing the shadow is not succumbing to it. It's integrating it. You realize that your dark impulses don't define who you are. They reveal what you need to understand. It's a process of liberation. When you accept the shadow, it loses its power to manipulate you. That's why awakened people seem so authentic. They don't pretend. They don't need to prove anything to anyone. They know that everyone carries light and darkness, and this lucidity creates a rare kind of emotional maturity. But this encounter with the shadow has another profound consequence: isolation. When you see your own darkness, you begin to see that of others. You understand their pain, their traumas, their contradictions, but you also realize when they are lying to themselves. That's why superficial relationships begin to fall apart. People who used to make sense simply cease to do so. You begin to prefer honest solitude to shallow connections, and that's not arrogance, it's lucidity. Silence becomes a temple, and in it arises the fourth experience of awakening, a sensitivity so deep that it seems supernatural. Jung called this an expansion of perceptual awareness. You begin to notice details that previously went unnoticed. A micro-expression on someone's face, the hidden tone in a sentence, the emotional mood of a room, what someone really feels despite what they say. It's as if your mind tunes your senses. This sensitivity is beautiful, but exhausting. You absorb emotions. You sense tensions before they happen. You detect falsehood the moment it arises, and that makes you selective. You need to be with people who don't drain your energy, authentic, simple, profound people. And it is precisely this sensitivity that leads to the fifth experience, the most transformative of all. The self begins to emerge. It is not the ego. It is not the persona. It is not the social identity. It is your real spark. What you have always been, before any mask. The emergence of the self brings a strange feeling. It is as if an internal intelligence, ancient, silent, and profound, begins to guide your steps. You no longer make decisions based solely on logic. You feel an inner guidance leading you. It is not ordinary intuition. It is something greater. Jung called it the central point of the psyche. When the self awakens, your whole life begins to reorganize itself. Things fall away, others emerge, relationships drift apart, new paths appear, and everything seems to conspire to lead you to a destination that is uniquely yours. What once hurt you now makes sense. What once confused you now enlightens you. And here's what almost no one says. Spiritual awakening is not a path of constant peace. It is a path of reconstruction, a careful demolition of what you never were, to reveal what you always were. Jung said that the self creates circumstances to put you on the right path. This sometimes means loss, breakups, internal collapses, but they all have a purpose: to align you with your truth. When the self awakens, you become intolerant of what is false, to empty jobs, to draining relationships, to environments that shrink you, to patterns that repeat suffering. And this is not rebellion. It is psychic maturity. It is life calling you to where you should be. This is the point where many think they are going crazy, because everything changes. Your mind changes. Your priorities change. Your sensitivity changes. The way you feel about time, love, the meaning of life, everything transforms. But here's the truth. You're not going crazy. You're awakening. Jung said, true madness is living disconnected from yourself. And awakening is just the opposite of that. It's you finally coming home, coming back to who you are, coming back to your essence. And when this understanding comes, you realize something extraordinary. All these signs, synchronicities, transcendent function, shadow, heightened sensitivity, Emergence of the self are not isolated phases. They are stages of a single process, the rebirth of consciousness. You begin to feel the world differently, to realize that there is an invisible thread connecting everything, that the pain you experienced prepared you, that the signs were always there, that you were always guided, and that nothing, absolutely nothing, was random. From here on, the path is different. Life will never be the same again, and that is a blessing, because now you see, now you understand, now you live awake. But Jung left one final warning. Those who look outside dream. Those who look inside awaken. This is the turning point. From the moment you start looking inward, the outside world ceases to control you. The opinions of others lose their power. The fear of making mistakes diminishes, and you begin to live with purpose. Awakening is a silent conversation between you and the infinite, an intimate, profound, and necessarily solitary journey, because no one can walk inside your mind for you, but the universe walks beside you the whole time. You notice this in synchronicities, in impossible coincidences, in intuition that is right, in calmness that comes without explanation, in relief that appears after a difficult decision. All of this is the self aligning your life. And when you least expect it, you discover that you are no longer afraid. You are no longer in a hurry. You don't need to prove anything, because you have finally found something that no one can take away: yourself. And this is where many, for the first time, are able to breathe deeply, as if their chest has opened up to make room for a new life. The world remains chaotic. People remain confused. Systems remain fragile. But you are steady inside. This is true awakening. No lights, no angels, no mystical visions, but the profound and irreversible experience of being whole, of knowing who you are, of walking with purpose, of living truthfully. If you are experiencing any of these signs, you are not alone. Many are awakening now, and each awakened soul illuminates not only itself, but the entire collective field. So if this message has reached you, it was probably not by chance. Perhaps it is another synchronicity, another reminder, another confirmation that you are exactly where you should be, on the path to awakening. And before I close, I want to ask you for something simple but powerful. If any part of this video spoke to you, if any passage touched your soul, if any phrase made deep sense, share your reflection in the comments. These comments connect people who are going through the same process and create a collective energy that can help those who don't yet understand what's happening inside them. And if you feel it in your heart, share this video with someone who needs to hear this message. Sometimes a single word can spark awakening in another person. Thank you for being here, and remember, awakening is silent, it is intimate, it is profound, and it transforms everything. That's it for now. Let your mind deal with the rest. See you later, or maybe never again.